ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुर्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधा कान्त नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमः विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Uh, so regulative devotional service that we start from the very beginning of uh, initiation, and the purpose of all regulations uh, is to uh, have a constant remembrance of the Lord, which is called the cardinal principle behind all the Vaidhi Bhakti. Mhm. So, according to Bhagavatam, we saw that if any of the members of the four Varnas and four ashramas fail to worship, or if they intentionally disrespect the personality of Godhead, who is the source of their own creation, they will fall down from their position into a hellish state of life. That is said in Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, 5th chapter, 3rd verse. So it was spoken by Narad Muni. It is a sober warning to worship Lord Shri Krishna. It is a synthesis of pure purpose behind the rules and regulations of the Vedas that govern the Varnashram social system. Mhm. In a sense, it instructs all living entities to conduct their lives according to the will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Uh, by remembering his instruction, they invariably remember him. Uh, then, by they remembering him faithfully and favorably, they serve the purpose of their instructions. So both are complementary. So we have to follow the rules and regulations. At the same time, we have to serve in the mood of Krishna make happy. Practicing devotees, by definition, feel great concern for the scriptural injunction because for them following such injunctions is their means to approach Krishna. Uh, because uh, feel, feeling great concern for the scriptural injunction, uh, and either they do not understand the deep meaning ultimately is supposed to be a means to approach Krishna. So, but however, the numerous recommendation vidhi and prohibitions nishedha of the Vedic injunctions sometimes appear contradictory. So, first of all, they are confused by the instructions, both pros and cons to this process. So this becomes a source of bewilderment. But the acharyas are quoting the famous Padma Puran verse, offer devotees simple guideline for practicing sadhana and as a means to resolve the conflicting views. Satatam smartavyam Vishnu Vishnu tartavyam nujatu chit sarva vidhi nishedasyu etayor eva kinkara. Krishna is the origin of Lord Vishnu. He should always be remembered and never forgotten at any time. All the rules and prohibitions mentioned in the Shastras should be the subservient or servants of the two principles. Always remember and never forget him. If you see, you think you are always remembering, but there is a gap which is of forgetfulness, and you do not see, you overlook, then again it's a problem. So both have to be considered. Always remember and never forget. This brilliant statement simplifies the many confusing and sometimes contradictory statements of scriptures into one rule and one prohibition. Always remember Krishna and never forget him. By adhering to these two injunctions, alert devotees can perfectly fulfill all their duties. But if devotees are not alert, they will forget Krishna and fall from their position, even if they perfectly execute all their varnashram duties. Mundane or blind obedience offers no spiritual benefit. So how can one always think of Krishna? It is natural for a person in love to always be absorbed in thoughts of his or her beloved. Similarly, advanced devotees approaching the stage of ecstatic devotion constantly think about Krishna, their beloved. This is the perfection of Krishna consciousness. However, devotees in the early stages of regulative devotional service are not so advanced. They cannot always remember Krishna. They had bad habits, influence, and distracting them. And therefore, their attention for the Lord is less mature, and therefore they are less intense. We may follow blindly, but at the same time, there is no oversight on it. So naturally, we miss by a lot of gaps of our attention on hearing and remembering and never forgetting him. So therefore, at varied degrees, devotees employ this particular principle. So when Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami in Hari Bhakti Vilas have compiled basic rules of devotion to help practicing devotees, that is sadhakas, and fix their mind on Krishna. Rupa Goswami says that he selected 64 prominent rules of devotional service from Hari Bhakti Vilas. He saw that it is also said in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, first canto, second chapter, 72, 73, and 74 verses. So pure devotees generally allow the items he listed. Thakur Bhaktivinoda mentions that Sri Rupa Goswami's 64 items come from similar instructions Krishna gave to Uddhava. That is in Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, 19th chapter, 20, 21st, 22nd, 23rd, and 24th verses. 5 verses are there. Amongst the 64 items, some are engagements for the body, some are for the senses, and some are for the mind. Thus, regulative devotional service and practice is the method of engaging body, mind, and senses in Krishna service. Some devotees reach perfection by practicing only one of the 64 items, and others by practicing more than one. The end result of fully executing each activity, however, is constant remembrance of Krishna. So, during our regulated chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, sometimes we emphasis on hearing, sometimes on chanting, sometimes of paying attention more heavily on how vibrations are coming out. Sometimes even meditating deeply, we want to see whether Krishna is dancing on our tongue or not even. But unfortunately, without the mercy of the Lord, how can you see the Lord himself dancing on your tongue when you chant Hare Krishna? So, Srila Prabhupada was a master at engaging his disciples and indeed the whole world in fixing the mind on Krishna, and he did so in such a way that simultaneously fulfilled Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan mission. Two examples of Srila Prabhupada's genius is engaging others who are book distribution and the enrollment of the life members. Now, this will be elaborated because it was my service. Srila Prabhupada writes, when one goes with Sankirtan party or sales books, he naturally thinks that he is going to sell Krishna's books. In this way, he is remembering Krishna. This is in Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, 22nd chapter, 130 purport. So, Srila Prabhupada does not restrict his concept of remembering Krishna to meditation only on Krishna's form and pastimes. For his divine grace, fully for engagement in service, Krishna service, especially in speaking about him, is the means of remembrance most suited to Vaishnavas of every caliber. Young men and women especially can dovetail their exuberance with this noble cause. By so doing, they purify their hearts and acquire the ability to think of Krishna at will. In this way, Srila Prabhupada marries preaching with regulated devotional practice. He thus engages his followers in the topmost religious principle, remembering Krishna. And his Guru Maharaj gave him simply, if you have money, print the books. But preaching is and distributing books, making life members and give them opportunity to associate with the devotees and Srila Prabhupada's books and so many things that can put them into inviting them also. So this strategy is also developed simply by faithfully following the order of a spiritual master, which was apparently so simple. Devotees get insight how to engage, people in service of Krishna. Devotees interested in a detailed description of the 64 items of devotional service should consult Nectar of Devotion, and that is chapter number 6 to 14. Now we enter into 5 main items of devotion. First 20 items of devotional service Rupa Goswami gives are the prime importance, comprising 10 do's and 10 don'ts. The list of do's form a foundation of regulative devotional service, and their strict observance assures rapid advancement in Krishna consciousness. Srila Prabhupada writes, success is sure for the rigid practitioner. In Bhagavad Gita, 6th chapter, 24th verse, purport, Srila Prabhupada says that. Avoiding the do not remove obstacles to the advancement. Srila Prabhupada adds that the first 3 items are the most essential. So accepting the shelter of bona fide spiritual master, Ado Guru Ashraya, Guru Padashraya, taking initiation from him, Krishna Dikshadi Sikshanam, and serving him with respect and reverence, Vishrambhena Guru Hoseva. The remaining 44 items include the 39 secondary items and 5 very special ones. Srila Rupa Goswami lists twice to stress their complete superiority. They are Sadhu Sangha Nama Kirtan Bhagavad Shravana Mathura Vasa Sri Murtira Shraddhaya Sevana. One should associate with the devotees, chant the holy name of the Lord, hear Srimad Bhagavatam, reside at Mathura, and worship the deity with faith and veneration. This is in Chaitanya Charitamrita Leela, 22nd chapter and 128th verse. So those who have deities at home, it is for their advancement. We are not Murti Puja, but we are supposed to cultivate loving devotion to our own deities in home. It is difficult to understand the wonderful potency of these 5 items of devotional service, which are that associate with the devotees, chant the holy name, read Srimad Bhagavatam or hear Srimad Bhagavatam, reside at Mathura and worship the deity with faith and veneration. It is difficult to understand the wonderful potency of those 5 items in devotional service. A slight connection with any of them, even when one has no faith, can awaken a person's dormant love of God. Yes. Regarding deity worship, for example, Rupa Goswami warns his readers that if they unknowingly behold the deity of Govindji, they will be overwhelmed by the ecstasy and will abandon worldly pursuits. My dear friends, so if you are indeed attached to your worldly friends, do not look at the smiling face of Lord Govinda. As he stands on the bank of Yamuna at Kashighat, casting sidelong glances, he places his flute to his lips and seems like newly blossomed twigs. His transcendental body, bending in 3 places, appear very bright and moonlight in the moonlight. So this is spoken in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, 1st canto, 2nd chapter, 239th verse. The reader may wonder why Rupa Goswami does not mention faith in this last statement glorifying the deity of Krishna. This book, Sadhana Bhakti Chintamani or Shuddha Bhakti Chintamani, places so much stress on the importance of faith. Srila Rupa Goswami now saying that faith is not required for those wishing to quickly arouse ecstasy and love. Yes, that is precisely what he is saying. Krishna is so powerful that contact with him, even without faith, elevates anyone to mercy, merely looks at him. But Srila Rupa Goswami conclusion should not be misconstrued as the recommendation for the faithless practice. Rather, he is praising the potency of devotional service. And Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, first canto, second chapter, 238th verse. It may be true that on rare occasions a person without faith comes to the stage of ecstasy. But the prerequisite for receiving such special mercy is that the person may be completely free from offense. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments that persons whose hearts and minds are purified of the slightest traces of offense may acquire rati and prema without developing faith. This is Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary on Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, first canto, second chapter, 238th verse. Say, do you think it is a transgression? No. It is the ecstatic leaping. Rupa Goswami's conclusion should not be misconstrued as a recommendation for the faithless practice. Rather, he is praising the potency of devotional service. It may be true that on rare occasions, person without faith comes to the stage of ecstasy. But the prerequisite for receiving such special mercy is that the person must be completely free from offense. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments that a person whose hearts and minds are purified of the slightest trace of offense may acquire rati and prem without developing faith. Even if you are progressing, Adav Shraddha Tato Sadhu Sangha and Vaidhi Bhakti, but you become so careless when you are looking into that, you will always say, oh, I don't have enough faith. But yet, a devotee can advance by the mercy of the potency of the holy name. So, this is Krishna's direct intervention that without faith, even one may acquire rati and prema. In this way, even without standard prerequisite of faith, devotees sometimes quickly attain perfection. Of course, when ecstatic devotion does appear, it infuses devotee with deep, meshless faith. Faith may come later, just to him to be systematic. When somebody has faith and passed away at certain stage of unfulfillment, and when he regains another opportunity, Shachinam Srimatam Gehe Yoga Prashtapijayate, he never thinks of his faith because his faithful stage might be forgotten because of change of life. But nonetheless, he makes definite progress, and then people start thinking, oh, he might have a very deep faith in his previous life. So that is the without going through the beginning of the faith in the life. Now, wherever he has stopped in the progress of devotional service in the previous life, from that stage he starts again. So there are chances that you may not know whether he has faith or not. But faith was there in the previous life. Therefore, he is gaining the better opportunity to advance. So he doesn't have to repeat Adav Shraddha Tato Sadhu Sangha like that. That process continues even after death. So, even without standard prerequisite of faith, devotees sometimes quickly attain perfection. Of course, when ecstatic devotion does appear, it infuses devotee with deep, matchless faith. Therefore, in the end, no devotee is without faith. Faith can come later on. It is already there. As super excellent as 5 special limbs of devotion are, the manifestation of their glory is tempered in Kali Yuga by the practical reality of people's offensive nature. People in this age, almost without exception, are unfortunate. In Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, first canto, second chapter, 138th verse. Therefore, they cannot always receive the immediate benefits offered by these 5 amazing items of devotional service. To taste the bliss of loving devotion, then they must acquire faith and progressively develop that faith by advancing, although in the stage of devotional service and practice. Sometimes Krishna doesn't remind you that how deep your faith was in previous life, and we start practicing as if we didn't have the faith, but yet accidentally we are inspired to appreciate and get ecstasy. So you can see how Bhakti Devi is so independent, like Krishna. If she chooses, she does not go through regulated process. To taste the bliss of loving devotion, then they must acquire faith and progressively develop that faith by advancing through the stages of devotional service and practice. So, to answer the reader's question, while for a very exceptional person who is freed of offense, faith is not always a prerequisite for loving devotion. Common people devoid of such purity must acquire faith to systematically attain life's ultimate goal. We have to, train. So therefore, some systematic approach is required. Therefore, the emphasis is there. These 5 peerless flames of devotion also contains within them 9 limbs of devotional service, that is Navanga Bhakti, described by Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj said in Srimad Bhagavatam 7th canto, 5th chapter, 23rd and 24th verses. Navanga Bhakti or Navada Bhakti. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Pada Sevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakhyam Atman Vedanam. So, Nam Kirtan, for instance, contains chanting, hearing, and remembering. Rupa Goswami mentions these 9 items immediately after the first 20. Once established in devotional service, devotees must first perform these 9 positive actions. Become regulated. Whether grouped in 5 or 9, anyone of of these practices can enable the devotee to achieve perfection. Even one, Parikshit Maharaj achieved perfection by hearing Arjun by being Krishna's friend, and develops devotees who practice all items simultaneously achieve success in the wake of Prahlad of Maharaj Ambarish. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, first canto, second chapter, 261st, fifth verse, describes which great devotees perfected the 9 limbs of devotion. You know that. Prahlad Maharaj, by hearing the holy name, chanting, who did the perfection? Sukadev Goswami, remembering Prahlad. Then Mandanam Dasya, what is that? Pada Sevanam, Archanam Vandanam, who did?
Archanam is Pritu Maharaj.
Pada Sevanam, Lakshmi Devi.
Lakshmi Devi Pada Sevanam. And Vandanam?
Akrura.
Akrura, good. Dasyam, Hanumanji. Sakhyam, Arjun. Atmanivedanam?
Ali Maharaj. Ali Maharaj.
Good. All right. Srila Prabhupada made these items of devotion the cornerstone of ISKCON. The morning and evening programs are tailored to enable devotees to chant japa, engage in kirtan, worship the deity, and hear the class on Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. One who strictly follows Srila Prabhupada's program automatically does all these things in a company of devotees, the ingredients constantly stressed by all Vaishnavacharyas as most important. Therefore, such program is compulsory in all the temples, and we should also have in Thailand, Bangkok. Then there are daily Nitya engagements such as Sri Harinam, book distribution, temple maintenance, occasional Nimitta engagements such as putting on the festivals, visiting holy places, receiving visiting devotees. All in all, ISKCON devotees have ample opportunities to purify themselves, whether they live in the temple or in their homes. They need only put into practice Srila Prabhupada's perfect program for Krishna consciousness. That program embraces the essence of engagement in devotional activities. Tasmat kenapi upayena manah krishnet niveshet. Somehow or another, one must fix the mind on Krishna. What if a devotee cannot perform all these items of devotional service and must select one? A devotee can complete all 9 limbs of devotional service described in Srimad Bhagavatam by practicing the 5 stressed by Rupa Goswami. Of 5, 3 are foremost: associating with the devotees, chanting Hare Krishna, and hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. Of these 3, the first 2 are indispensable. That is, association and chanting Hare Krishna. They are indispensable. But if circumstances force devotee to choose only one, they should select the chanting of the Lord's holy names. Wherever you are, chant the holy name. If you don't have even association, you will have association of Lord Krishna's name, which is non-different from his form. So, everybody should start with chanting, then associating, Chanting, the most important item. Chanting the holy name is the most powerful spiritual practice. By chanting, a devotee automatically performs all other limbs of devotional service. In his Krama Sandarbha commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam, Jiva Goswami comments on Prahlad Maharaj's description of the ninefold practice of devotional service. It says, Yadyanya Bhaktihi Kalau Kartavya Tada Kirtanakhya Bhakti Samyoge Naiva Iti Uktam Yagnaihi Sankirtanam Prahe Janti Sumedasa Iti Tatra Cha Swatantrayam Eva Nama Kirtana Atyanta Prasattam. The essence of the statement is in the age of Kali, Kirtan must accompany the other 8 branches of Bhakti. In other words, Kirtan is not an option for one who wants to advance in devotional service. Sri Jiva goes on to cite Srimad Bhagavatam and the emperor of all scriptures and concludes that the form of Bhagavatam's objective point of view, Nama Sankirtan, is the best of all devotional process. This is spoken in Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th Canto, 5th chapter, 32nd verse. Why then is hearing Shravanam is the first item on the list, and why it is frequently emphasized that most important limb of devotional service? It's not controversial, but it is true that revealed scriptures and their commentaries often make such statement about hearing, but they do so along with constant glorification of Sankirtan as the best limb of devotion. Shravanam is there. Srila Prabhupada explains these 9 processes of devotional service, of which Shravan, hearing, is the most important. Without hearing, nobody can understand the science of God. This is in the festival lecture in Montreal, 16th August 1968. Here, Srila Prabhupada stresses hearing is the most important because it is the only way to acquire knowledge, even without chanting. Therefore, when considering the sequence of devotional activities, hearing must come first. And in that sense, hearing is the most important. But once a person has heard about the science of God, of all the 9 limbs of devotion, chanting is the most important. It is the most effective process for purifying the heart and achieving the life's ultimate goal. Srimad Bhagavatam calls chanting the most auspicious activity and one's good quality of this age. Now, why hearing is also becomes the first? Because its application in the Western world, unless they hear from purified devotee like Srila Prabhupada, how could they chant? Chanting doesn't come automatically. He must have heard. Even Allen Ginsberg, who learned this Mahamantra when he was in India, and that Before even Srila Prabhupada came, he explained that he heard. Hearing a pure devotee chant infuses the impetus to chant. So therefore, hearing is the first. Without hearing, a total novice or those who have forgotten cannot be reminded even that hearing is very essential and it should be first. That is the process that the spiritual master chants one round audibly on the beads for the first time. When a devotee duly initiated will start chanting after. What is the necessity for the spiritual master to chant on his beads? But for the spiritual master, even the beads are alive. There is a conception of chanting. So then you can employ the hearing process. Let the Guru chant and sanctify. This is called sanctification process. And one must preserve it. Right. And of all the ways to chant the Lord's glories, including the recitation of the Vedas and Puranas, speaking of one's own narrations of the pastimes of the Lord, singing the devotional songs and offering prayers, chant the Lord's holy name, Nama Sankirtan, is the foremost because it can once independently awaken the love of Godhead in the heart. This has been spoken is behind in Brihad Bhagavatamritam, 2nd canto, 3rd chapter, 158th verse, commentary by Sanatana Goswami. We should note that while devotees chant the Lord's holy names and glories, they automatically hear the name. That hearing is contained in the process of chanting again, confirms the foremost position of chanting. Both chanting Hare Krishna in private japa and chanting loudly in public in kirtan must be performed. Both allowed chanting of japa and public kirtan are the parts of Sankirtan. Jiva Goswami writes, Bahurbir Militva Kirtanam Sankirtanam. When many devotees are assembled together to enjoy chanting of the Lord's glories, such chanting is called Sankirtan. This is quoted in Amnaya Sutra, 62nd verse. Bhakti Vinod Thakur wrote, why do the acharyas stress chanting Hare Krishna in public? When devotees chant to themselves, they are benefited, but when they chant in public, many others are benefited. When many devotees chant together in public, they benefit themselves, one another. And the conditioned souls who may be in the vicinity, furthermore, because performing Sankirtan fulfills Lord Chaitanya's desire to bless the world, the devotees manage to please him. Gauranga's mercy then flows to all involved, and the result expands exponentially. Thus, in Narad's opinion, the benefits enjoyed by the performance of the public Nam Sankirtan are 100 times greater than those enjoyed by chanters of japa. Oh, therefore I can chant only one round, that will become equivalent to 16 rounds because I'm participating in public Sankirtan. जपतो हरि नामानि स्थाने शतगुणाधिकः आत्मनं च पुनाति उच्चैर जपन श्रोत्रं पुनाति च. Compared to a person who is attached to chanting japa, the person who performs loud chanting of the holy name of Hari is 100 times better. This is because the person who chants japa purifies himself, whereas the person who chants the holy name loudly in kirtan purifies himself and all those who are with him, and everyone else who hears and the holy vibration. This is in Sri Naradiya 20, that is second, quoted in Chaitanya Bhagavat Adi Khanda, 16th chapter, 268th verse, 283rd verse. Okay. The importance of chanting Hare Krishna cannot be overemphasized. Nama Sankirtan is the act of devotion that governs all other devotional acts and empowers them to bestow the love of Godhead on the devotee. In Brihad Bhagavatamrita, the Vaikuntha Dutas tell Gopakumar, when the nectar of the Holy Lord's name appear in just one sense, all the senses are flooded with their own sweet taste. Nama Sankirtan does not depend on any external condition, prerequisite, paraphernalia, or previous qualification. It is independent of anything material and its performance readily accessible to all Nama Sankirtan. Nama Sankirtan fulfills all sacrifices, penances, and austerities, for then one achieves ecstatic love of God, one attains the complete perfection of life. Therefore, whatever devotional service one performs, whatever ordinary activity one performs, one should humbly and meekly, free from all offenses, chant the Lord's holy names. Srila Prabhupada writes, if one wants to achieve success at the end of his life, the process of remembering Krishna is essential. Therefore, one should constantly, incessantly chant the Hare Krishna mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. This has been spoken in Bhagavad Gita. As it is chapter number 8, text number 5, purport. Still, chanting should be done with due respect for the holy name. This means that even though there are no hard and fast rules for chanting, devotees should avoid the 10 offenses against the holy name listed in the scriptures. Devotees should be especially attentive not to commit offense while chanting their prescribed rounds on the beads practiced at their initiation. Chanting one's rounds while driving or cooking or slurring, skipping, or adding words to the mantra are examples of disrespecting the name, dozing while chanting, neglecting to chant, thinking, the planning of the whole chanting, and gossiping or talking while chanting should always be avoided. Unfortunately, such negligence is prevalent in ISKCON today. Offensive chanting invariably debilitates faith and the efficacy of the Vaidhi Bhakti and weakens one's ability to remember Krishna. Offenders to the holy name are unable to reap the ample protection really chanting awards. By such offensive chanting, devotees gradually retreat to Maya's lap. Chapter 2 provides a list of the anomalies which the devotees can evaluate whether or not they are trying hard enough to avoid offenses in their chanting. Devotees must at all time be vigilant to be the aberrations caused by material conditioning. Then the holy name will award all strength and protection. Srila Prabhupada has promised us this in the letter to George Harrison, Bombay 4, January 1973. So chanting is very essential, and we see the glories of chanting. Tomorrow we will be looking into the deity worship to further Archanam, Pujanam, Vandanam. So, anyone has any question? I think this chapter was easy, not much complicated. Was it not? Jai.
Hare Krishna Gurudev, please accept my humble obeisance. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Srila Gurudev. That mention about faith is something that I'm wondering about, Gurudev. Doesn't faith for many come from tangible benefits that they get, and then they go to the deity and they start the faith? And then are these faithless people of other faiths who come in front of Krishna and are still not taken up to him? Then a follow-up question is also, how do we deal as
It
devotees?
may take time to purify, but Lord Krishna's mercy takes over.
But how do they perform, Gurudev? Without faith, what do they really do?
No, they put the faith on Krishna's name because Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So they cultivate even pseudo faith or little bit. It will help them to advance.
Okay.
Because there may be some names, but they do not denote the meaning of the absolute truth.
Oh. Less knowledge, you're saying. Yeah.
Naturally. So instead of chanting the holy name, they chant some prayers on the beats.
Yes. Yes, Gurudev.
They should chant the holy name.
Yeah. So could we then, when we see them in our congregation as new people who are there and doing it without chanting the holy name, can we bring them up to speed and say, can we show you how to do this? That you please chant on the beads and
Krishna is all attractive.
Yeah.
So because he's sitting in the heart, he may agitate the person and inspire him to chant his holy name, or simply by hearing it goes into his eardrums and can start performing the transcendental effect.
Yeah, I mean, I just remember Lalas Mai Mataji and myself, we were there on Janmashtami, and 12 o'clock Aarti was nearing, and we were the only two there. And both of us quickly decided, let us ask them to chant the Mahamantra. And that way, a whole lot of people who are normal people who are not within the ISKCON devotee ranks started chanting the Mahamantra. So,
yes,
I remember that on that day. Yeah. Thank you, Gurudev. Sure.
We can't imagine or limit the potency of the holy name. Sarva Shaktis. Nama Namakari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis.
Yes, Gurudev.
Eyeball.
Hare Krishna Gurudev, please accept my humble obeisances. So if I have a question about deity worship. So if you live in the temple, is it then also important to have own deities?
Yes, if you are not able to attend daily and you are staying far away, then you can have your own deities. But you should not distinguish between deity in the temple and deity at home. The temple is meant for very regulated performance of devotional service. So everybody comes there and perform Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyanam, Atmanivedam. If you are far away from the home, from the deities and the temple, then you can establish a small temple within your home. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Haribol. Hmm?
He wants examples of devotees receiving special mercy without faith. And then he remembers one Aboriginal woman in Jungla Forest developed rati just by seeing Krishna in nectar devotion.
Anything else?
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj, Dandavat Pranams.
Haribol.
Sudharmaya, here, Guru Maharaj. Maharaj, I got a question, if you could clarify. If we have deities at home and we have got temple where we go and worship, so during the festivals, we have to be in the temple, to actually, do services for the lordships. So are we excused from not attending to our deities at home? What is the regulations, Guru Maharaj?
You can, if you have developed love for your deities, you may have to work half an hour extra to give him a quick bath, or if you are not, then change the clothes, or even though you are not doing that, then feed them at least. If you love at the home, so why don't you look, if you have small children and you have the festival in the temple, how would you treat your children? Yeah. Some people are traveling with their deities. Even though they go for pilgrimage, they will take their deities because they want to serve them. They don't want to leave them alone. Of course, sometimes it's seen like sahajiya, a situation. But no, you don't have to display that kind of, thing. You manage within.
Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj. This was a question in my mind for a long time. Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Huh? Jai Vidyalala Saha.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam. Gurudev, my question is in regards to deity worship. As you mentioned, the deities we have at home,
we should not distinguish between them and the deities at the temple. So sometimes when we are not able to attend the temple,
Hare Krishna.
sorry, Guru Maharaj. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
When we are not able to attend the temple and we are sick, but we are serving our deities every day at home. But some devotees say like, no, the deities at home are not the same as the deities at the temple. How should we reconcile that then?
It depends upon your personal conviction, at what extent. Suppose if you are going for a few days for, say, pilgrimage, and you carry your deities belong, you know?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Because we've developed that kind of attachment with our deities over the years, Guru Maharaj, that wherever we are, we cannot leave them unattended or
Naturally,
do not feed
you should
them.
not take too many deities. People are carrying too many deities. But you develop such attachment with your own personal deity. Say, Gopal Krishna Maharaj had personal deities. He had Gaurnitai, he has several shalagrams, okay? And even Giriraj was there. But he would serve them meticulously every day. But he would not, give up temple function. He was very precise in deity worship as his own. And I used to carry my deities also, Radha Shyam Sundar. But then he kept on carrying, even though he's not available, because he has somebody always with him. While I was traveling alone, and I had to go through some Muslim countries, and I thought my deities will not be much, honored. It will be encumbrance. So I thought, let me establish them and give, constant service as a regulated temple. So some of my disciples are engaged in serving them. But Gopal Krishna Maharaj continued even though he was not able to carry. Naturally, with the deities so much overweight, he would carry. But somehow or other, even though with difficulty or no difficulty, he was carrying on. We understand physical difficulty will be there, but such examples are also rare. So the main important point is that when you have, attachment to your deities, then you have to also take care of the obligations. Attachment is not superficial. It should be deeply, conceived.
Yes, Guru Maharaj. Can you elaborate on that a bit more, please?
The elaboration is by practice. If you practice according to your attachment, then it's okay. Otherwise, why should be the deity? They are not Barbie dolls.
Yes, Gurudev. And Guru Maharaj, I had another question. You mentioned about the process of sanctification in regards to the spiritual master chanting on the beads before initiation. So, and you said we must preserve it. So, can you please elaborate a bit more on how we should do that?
Because Shravanam is the main aspect. So unless and until spiritual master chants and then you hear and you are inducted in the process of Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. Always hear the spiritual master, his instructions, which are not different than the holy name and glorification of it. So, Shravanam is must. If you have not heard about Krishna, how would you be, leaning towards going to hear about Krishna and furthermore develop the faith? Hearing is first and foremost process. It's the most actually strongest process, hearing. Out of all the five senses employed in the service of Lord Krishna's holy name, hearing is the most important. Then comes chanting, hearing and chanting, not chanting and hearing. It will become merged, but you can't isolate either after they merge. But regardless, the impetus or in the beginning, hearing is must. Then chanting by your conviction.
So to check my understanding.
If our conviction is not strong in the beginning, but yet developing little faith, the conviction will come. See, bhakti is autonomous, and rigid steps are necessary to discipline ourselves, but there are no hard and fast rules also. So how can you reconcile between the two seemingly opposite statements?
Bhakti Devi is independent, as you mentioned.
Yes, because without sound vibration existing in the first place, there could not be even anybody can vibrate or hear. And therefore, sound vibration was the first and foremost thing to be created, the transcendental sound vibration. And sound vibration must be heard and repeated, spoken.
Yes, Guru Maharaj. So, Gurudev, to check my understanding, so we preserve the sanctification process done by our spiritual masters by constantly hearing from our Gurudev and abiding by his instructions. Is that so?
Well, you can expand your hearing on the same similar subject within the context of our movement.
Parampara. Yes, Guru. Thank you, Gurudev. Dandavat Pranam, Hare Krishna.
Ojasvi Prabhu.
Haribol, Ojasvi.
Hare Krishna Gurudev, please accept my humble obeisances, Guru Maharaj.
Gosha Prabhupada.
Guru Maharaj, just on a question of deity worship, I just heard that you said that when we have deities at home, we have to bathe them every day, Gurudev. Is that correct? Or we can bathe them once a fortnight?
Depends. Yeah, but you can't replace the temple worship, and you cannot imitate the temple worship at the home. Grahasthas are supposed to do in accordance or their availability. Now, fortunately, if you are closer to the temple, and so you will be ending up more intensified devotional service.
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
So all that practices should be intellectually conceived and worked out with the time management and so many things in favor to Lord Shri Krishna.
But if we don't bathe the deities every day at home, Gurudev, is it an aparat to the deities? Is it an offense to the deities? Because we get different messages from different devotees, Guru Maharaj.
Now, naturally, That is a householder is given some leniency, so you devise which activity should be done regularly without fail to your home deities and which should not. Generally, we start with then even if you bathe or not, deities are not going to be, what you call, contaminated. Because the conception of the personality is in the deity, and ultimate is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That personality has been there. But the idea is that if you are given to choose minimum, say 5 upacharas, then do it. You can increase, but don't try to decrease. You can increase according to your availability and work out. You will be best of the time managers.
Sure, Guru Maharaj. We started doing daily bathing at home since last 4 months, Guru Maharaj, and it is personally helping me a lot, and I'm loving that service more and more.
Good. Do it early, so it won't conflict your attendance in the temple.
Yes, Guru Maharaj, yes.
Yeah, very well.
Hare Krishna, Gurudev. Tanurpana.
Yeah, sure.
And Guru Maharaj, I got all the information from the GBC college. I'll share it to you as an email today.
Good. Proceed, okay?
Thank you, Gurudev.
Very well.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj, Dandvat Pranam.
Yeah.
I had the same dilemma on Janmashtami night. I wanted to bathe Giriraj at midnight and do offering and arti. And I decided to do that. And I missed the midnight darshan at the temple. So, is that okay?
How do you feel?
I felt good by staying at home and taking care of him.
Yeah.
And then I had the darshan on the Zoom.
Right. It does not disturb your commitment to serve Krishna favorably. There is unity between the home worship and temple worship. But as far as association of the devotees, association of, the occasion, you might have missed, right?
Yeah. But I went for darshan in the afternoon, but the midnight association I did miss. So what should I do then?
No, that's okay.
Yeah.
That is all right. So one time you do this, another time you do other way around.
Okay.
And see the difference.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna, Guru Dandvat Pranam.
Airball.
How early should you wake up deities if you want to attend Mangalarti?
Attend Mangalarti first and then come to do your deity worship. You will have ample time for cooking and offering later.
Say thank you.
How come Gopu Club is not expanding?
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj Dandavat Pranam.
Yay!
By your mercy, by your super excellent mercy invested in us, we are very happy worshipping Gopu. But when I'm traveling to, for example, I'm in Vrindavan, running around here and there, so I've entrusted Gopu in the care of Shampi and Sriniketan. I need to train them also.
Good.
So please empower us with more and more mercy.
Yeah. But there are others also worshipping so beautifully, like Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi and
Yeah.
Mataji also in Hyderabad.
Hmm.
You know, oh my God, even Madhvi Mataji in Melbourne and Shreya Kairava Chandrika, everybody, and Mahojwala, the first one to recipient.
Yes, Guru.
Energy, yeah, first recipient. But they do not send the pictures. I hope they will become very regulated and deity worship.
So who is next in line?
In Melbourne, I mean, in Auckland, I'm sorry, not in Auckland, Wellington.
Sannivas Prabhu?
Pundarikaksha. Guru Maharaj Pundarikaksha.
Yeah, Pundarikaksha.
Wow.
He has been asking since last 4 years, when is my turn? But we'll see.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dhanavad Pranam. Also, Nityananda Ram Prabhu and Ratnamala Dhara Mataji, I thought they were in Brisbane.
I saw a deity at their home even.
They have Gaurunita at home. I thought they wanted.
No, they had small, Shinaji also.
Okay, I don't know.
Ask them.
Sure.
I think in the whole ISKCON, it's only our God family who is exclusively privileged to worship Srinathji Deity Guru Maharaj by your mercy. I must say that. I
mean, and he is directly connected to Vrindavan pastimes. So naturally, those who are worshipping him will be also intensified in Brajalila.
Jai.
First, Gopa will lift up our false ego. Okay? Smash it.
Yes, Guru.
Like Indra's false ego was smashed. So all that pastime we desire to happen in our life by worshipping Gopu.
Yes, Guru Maharaj. Jai. Hare Krishna.
And by Gurudev and Haribol, I was saying it's by your mercy only that Srinathji was installed in Mauritius, right? At Rukmini Dwarkadesh.
Oh my God. He brought, of course, but we had some limitations there in worshipping Srinathji.
Okay. In what sense, Gurudev?
Because they're carving and the body intact attached to the Shila.
The frame.
Yeah. So there were limitations. but we don't
Yeah,
have
we could not dress him properly.
naturally, and there was no proper training, you know, because I was his friend and he must be inspired by me. So even without my concern, you know, he brought the deity himself. He doesn't know, he would not know what kind of deity would be more congenial for worship.
Yes, Guru Maharaj. Thank you for clarifying. I wanted to know. Got curious.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj.
All right, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.